What's up, YouTube? How y'all guys doing today? Hope y'all been having a great time during your quarantine and you've been able to stay inside and not get sick or anything. Today, I am bringing you a story called The Smoky God. Now, I read this book and then I also listened to it on audio. It was a good book, so basically I read it twice. And I really enjoyed this book. It's about a voyage to the inner earth, basically. This man said, "Oh, check it out! I got Spider-Man waffles today, guys." That's right. So we'll be doing a little mukbang, and then I got my little guy right here behind my coffee, just saying what's up. But we'll be doing a little mukbang today, talking about the book, doing a little book report review, kind of. Oh, man. Oh, those are bomb. So buttery. I melted the butter down. Love it. Love it. Buttery. Bloop. Anyway. A voyage. Okay, so what it says, explain it. The Smoky God, or A Voyage Journey to the Inner Earth, is a book presented as a true account written by Willis George Emerson in 1908. Long time ago. Really long time ago. Might want to ask grandparents, do y'all remember about this book ever coming out? Which describes the adventures of Olaf Jansen, a Norwegian sailor who sailed with his father through an entrance to the Earth's inner interior, at the North Pole. That's where they did this. So, this father and son believed in Odin and Thor mythology. And, basically they were out fishing one day and they were talking about it. And the dad was like, "Hey, you want to go on an expedition? I always wanted to go and try to find this place." And I made a black one too, check it out. So his son's like, "Heck yeah, let's go do this. Get to go on an expedition with my dad, it's going to be great." So they leave. This voyage approximately takes 2 years. Alright. The voyage there, altogether, they found this place, they stayed for 2 years, and then they decide, they're like, "Hey, we gotta leave, we gotta go back and tell our people about this," And then when they leave, the people they, encounter are like, "I'm probably not gonna be able to make it back here, we're really surprised you made it here in the first place." Just the water and everything so treacherous. I'm kind of like, okay, this is a dad and a son. 2 guys on a boat. Going all the way to the North Pole. Searching. Looking. Just 2 guys. I don't know. I don't think you necessarily have to have a team of guys that, run a boat or whatever. But still, 2 guys going through this cold and ice, and it's a scary expedition. You don't know what's going to happen. So they leave. They give them these gold and stuff to leave with and to take back with them. And they say, "Hey, we're going to try to come back in a year or 2. On their voyage back home, they hit an iceberg. Whole time there, they didn't hit an iceberg, Going there, didn't hit an iceberg. But going back home, well, they were going past an iceberg, and what had happened, what was explained, was a portion of the iceberg broke off and collapsed. Didn't hit their boat necessarily, but what it did was cause a huge wake that flipped their boat. And the son explains in detail of watching his father just all tangled up in the ropes and everything of the sails of the boat and just, sink to the bottom. But the son was propelled onto the iceberg, and He waited there until he was found by a whaling vessel. When the whaling vessel rescued him and, interrogated him about, why he was where he was at and how he became stranded, he tells them the story, and they brush it off as this dude's crazy. But, if I just found a guy on an iceberg in the middle of the ocean, I'm going to ask him what happened to him, and whatever that guy tells me, I'm probably going to believe, because I never would believe that I would find a guy on an iceberg in the middle of the ocean in the first place. For real. They chain him up, they lock him up until they get back to wherever. He convinces them actually to let him work on the boat and stuff, that he's no harm or anything, and they agreed to that, and they did that. But he wouldn't talk about his accounts until he gets home, finds out that his mom has passed away a year before he came back. So all of her belongings and stuff automatically goes to him. He entrusts to tell his story to his uncle. And when he's telling his story to his uncle, convincingly is telling him oh, we're going to get you in front of some officials, and we'll get you in front of the right people so you can tell them the story and what's going on, then we can get you an expedition to go out again. And he's thinking his uncle's agreeing with him and understanding, and everything's hunky-dory. That's not what happened. His uncle goes and tells authorities that basically his nephew's crazy and talking all this craziness, nonsense. But I don't get that either, because you're my uncle. You know that I got picked up by this whaling vessel. Well, this is 1908 too, so I can't be thinking of it like you got cell phone, call up my uncle, hey, I'm stuck on this iceberg, can you come save me? So the uncle is probably just hearing the story about even the whaling vessel and everything. He's probably just something's amiss here. Something's not right. I don't get it. But I want to know, is the uncle the mom's brother, the dad's brother? Why didn't the dad come back? I don't understand why the uncle wasn't asking a series of questions. Anyways, long story short, the dude's locked up in this mental institution for 28 years. Comes out and trying to just find himself, trying to get back into society. And what had happened was, he comes back out, he's trying to find his way, he ends up going back to, what he knows, which is fishing, and he becomes a crew member with the crew or whatever, and does his fishing, but he stops talking about it, the whole experience, because it's gotten nothing but miserable. It's made his life miserable. He's lost his dad, he's lost his mom, he's lost his family basically, disowning him. People would call him crazy. So he just stops talking about it. And he takes it basically to his grave until he meets this guy that wants to know about the story. He's like, hey, I'll tell you about this story, but I'm not going to tell anybody about this story again until I'm on my deathbed, because I do not want to go through, scrutiny, being called a liar, being labeled. He doesn't want that stigma on him. Understandable. Nobody would, especially if you just got out of a mental hospital you've been in miserably for 28 years of your life. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. You go there, you lose. You lose life, man. Basically lose days of your life. You're in a jail. That's what a mental hospital is basically like, a jail, where you can walk around, they give you medicine, the nurses are there instead of guards, and, they got one TV in a room with uncomfortable couches, and, basically that's it. You're confined. 28 years of that. That would make someone go crazy. But, you know, if you haven't read the book, The Smoky God, it is a good book. And it really made me start thinking. Like, because I've read stories of the Bible, Adam, his sons, living to, you know, 500, 1,000 years old. When this dude went to this unknown land in the inner earth, the beings there, you know, he didn't get too much. I guess he, you know, said they look like us and everything, except that they're 13, 14 feet tall and that they live for a very long time. And, you know, while he's there with his dad for 2 years, they visit the continent, they visit the cities. In this inner earth, they show them the lands, they show them the animals that are there, they show them how they keep going. And basically their son is this cloud of, and that's why they call it the Smoky God, is basically this bright cloud of smoke or something. It has something to do with gravity. And, you know, basically that's their light source and their energy source from in there. And what they perceive as, you know, God. So I started thinking about the, you know, the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, the story. And after reading this book and hearing about what these beings were explaining, you know, he said, like, they basically just ventured out to the world, the surface world. You know, a group of them ventured out to the surface world, and that's what happened. So I don't necessarily think that Adam and Eve got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. I think the story is just so long, or not so long, but it's been told for so long. It's been stretched, it's been manipulated. But what it kind of sounds to me is like, if this is where we originated and this is the Garden of Eden, you know, we were living as these beings down there. No telling what technology was like then. It could have been just like the Stone Age. I don't know. But for some reason I think we didn't like eat the apple of knowledge. We ate the apple of curiosity. And curiosity just, you know, pushed us to venture out onto the surface world where there was already animals and beings and different things already going on. But what they're explaining is that, you know, these beings that live in this inner earth are really tall and, you know, and they can live a lot longer, 1,000 years more. And so I'm starting to think, I'm like, Adam's son would live for like, you know, 700 years, 600 years and stuff like that. These beings were telling the storyteller that the son prematurely made them die. They were dying prematurely because of the sun. The sun was forcing them to age quicker. And it's what pushed them into the inner earth. I don't know, really great book. You know, if you like fiction, you know, it's a book that you can like really like tie fiction and, you know, reality together and make you really like ponder, did this really happen? Because supposedly it's a true story. I'm so intrigued. Like, I would love, if I had the funds, you would see me with my expedition shirt on and my hat on, and I'd be going. And they were talking about like when they got to the curve of the earth, when they were really far north, the compass wouldn't work and stuff. And I don't know, man. And then you go and look at these other stories people have of like the bird story of General Byrd, where he flew to Antarctica, North Pole, whichever, and he went into this hole and he discovered these beings and all this stuff, and they talked to him and they let him go and all that. Apparently these beings are not like evil or like look at us as any kind of threat or anything like that. They're very accepting in letting people come in. And from what I'm, you know, gathering from all of this is that we would be able to go back we probably all could be able to be accepted to go back. But what would like keep us from being able to go back, I think, is the chaos that we already have here on the surface world. Until we can like get this all straightened out, they'd probably let us back. I don't know. But I want to go find it, man. I'm intrigued. I just want to go look, you know. Just to say I did it. But, man, I don't know. I don't like the cold. But apparently there's other places you can enter the inner earth. Like in Kentucky, there's apparently a cave or something that goes down into this. I forgot how far they said they think you got to go to like reach this point. But, oh no. These guys went in to an entrance that was basically turned into a river. There's 4 rivers, apparently, that reach the Garden of Eden. And how this book is explained, they found all those rivers where they were connected and everything. Like, I'm telling you, if you've done your research just on this and, like, events of, Bird and some other stories, it's going to really make you scratch your head, because these events, 2 different times, 2 different timelines, and it's saying the same stuff, basically. Saying the same stuff. 2 different timelines, different technologies, saying the same stuff. Same story. So there has to be, like, some type of truth to this, you know. I just think it's cool. If you're interested in it, you like the mukbang, you want to see any more, you want to learn about any more, I'm going to read a few more books, try to do a few more reviews on them. But check out the Smoky God, because it is a great story. Really great book. Yeah, you won't regret it. I promise. I'm signing off, guys. Thanks for watching.